Hello, boys and girls and boys. It's your boy King Jiffy Coats, and today we're going to be having a little bit of a fun one. We're going to be having a little bit of fun here. We're going to do a little bit of chaos, a little bit of memes. We're going to watch a little bit of lore dives, and I think we're going to have a good video, boys and girls. I think we're really going to have a good video. I'm like smacking down a tuna fish sandwich right now, and I'm not going to lie, dude. My wiener is really hard. I got a really hard wiener right now. This is crazy. What the shit, dude? Well, I'm trying to dashboard. Uploaded videos. Go live. Ah, there we go. Got it. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. That's good. We got my live up. I got my live chat. Okay. Cool. Alright, boys and girls, here we go. Here we go. We're going to jump right into this. Now, this is from Crytek Rants, The Downfall of Marathon. And I saw this kind of popped up on my feed. It looked interesting. And this guy's got 9 subs. 6 videos. 6 videos. And I'm like, you know, this might be a little honey hole here. We might have found somebody new, somebody else who's in the fold trying to get out on these YouTube streets and get monetized. But here we go, guys. This is Cryptic Rants, The Downfall of Marathon.
Hello everyone, and today we're going to be going over a pretty big topic that has taken over the landscape of gaming the past couple days. Now with the growth of extraction shooters like Escape from Tarkov and Dark and Darker, AAA studios are looking to enter the market and capitalize on the increasingly growing audience looking to play these types of games. Now Bungie decided they wanted to join in with their title Marathon, which from the distance looked like it could have been a good game till you got a little look at the characters and realized that it wasn't going to be it.
It was always going to be shit. I'm going to be real with you. It was always going to be shit.
Marketing push aiming to streamers to leverage those wanting to play the game during a public playtest. Some, including me, had many technical issues with none of...
I mean, this guy's buried to the facts, but I want to be real, like 100% honest. I have been saying Marathon was dog shit since the moment Marathon was announced and I found out that it was an extraction shooter. So when I found out it was an extraction shooter, my dude, I was like, fuck this, dude. Fuck this. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous that you take one of the most iconic, not most iconic, but you take an incredibly iconic FPS series that led directly into making Halo, and you have this like incredible lore deep, story rich FPS game and there wasn't a lot of story rich FPS games at the time. There really wasn't. And you look at the fact that they had made this, and then years later they pull that old IP out of the dirt, basically spread their butt cheeks in diarrhea shit all over its existence, and we're just supposed to eat it up because pretty extraction shooter. They're like, ooh, look at the fucking like art we stole from everybody and stuff like that. So it's gay. It was gonna be shit from the beginning, and I'm glad that Bungie has no association with Halo anymore.
Them being resolved or even talked about. And yes, I am a little happy to see the downfall. Well, a little, because it sent me down a path of gambling and I lost everything. And I'm kidding. I'm good. I swear. But since players were now getting a chance to view the world in its entirety, an artist by the name of Anti-Real on Twitter noticed some of the art in the game looked a little too similar to their own work, and not just a couple instances or things.
Bro's cooking with his little animations here for somebody who's this early in YouTube. Like, a lot of respect, bro.
That could have been their work, but quite literally copy-pasted, as we can see in these comparisons posted by Anti-Real, each revealing how much was truly taken. Now, they did also add that they didn't want to sue Bungie legally, as they didn't have the energy nor the resources to do so. Also adding that they've been working on this style for over 10 years, and they are tired of designers mood boarding and parasiting their work instead of them hiring her. This whole situation reminds me of the meme, you can copy my homework but change it up a bit. There was no changing it up a bit. Bungie is now calling the artist who added these files to their texture pack an ex-contracted employee.
Which I don't even think is kind of true, to be honest. I really don't think that's even kind of true. And this is something funny. Again, dude, I think Bungie is one of the most disgusting companies out there, and I think a lot of people gave them way too much faith. But look how they treated the Bungie or the Destiny community, dude. They've been absolute fucking cum goblin like AIDS monsters to the entire Destiny community for years now. But every time they get. And I have a little bit of a disdain for Bungie already, because I think it's so retarded that people are like, well, if Bungie wouldn't have left Halo, Halo would still be in such a better place. No, dude, they would have went over to Destiny. If they would have never left Microsoft, we're going to do a fucking theoretical, my beautiful little retards. A little theoretical. They go over, they never leave. Microsoft gives them the okay to make Destiny. They make Destiny. It's gangbusters. They make Destiny 2. Just the same way. Now, you know what they would be turning into an extraction shooter? Halo. They wouldn't have jumped back to motherfucking Marathon. Nobody gives a shit about Marathon in comparison. You have the Halo IP. So we would see Halo get its fucking asshole pulled up out of its grave, and then Bungie would have, like, humped it into fucking bleeding submission, bro.
I just see it as a cop-out with how big Bungie is and how many checks need to happen at AAA studios. I don't see how they could have slipped through the cracks. Now, what makes this whole situation worse is the art director for Marathon, Joseph Cross, follows Anti-Real on Twitter. Now, this
of course he does, because he fucking ripped him off, bro. I mean, you can look at Marathon and just realize that it's fucking unoriginal slop, right? Marathon is an extraction shooter that looks a lot like every other, like, sci-fi extraction shooter coming out. It looks nothing like what Marathon looks like, right? Marathon had, like, a very interesting style back in the day. Let me just pull it up while our boy, Cryptic Rants, talks here for a second.
Pretty quickly spreading like wildfire, and has notable figures like Asmongold and Upper Echelon all making videos talking about this situation and watching it unfold live. Seeing this all go down was honestly quite insane, and as time went on and more examples flooded the timeline, I was honestly surprised at how bad Bungie had messed up this time. Now, just 2 days after this post on Twitter, Marathon held a dev blog live stream where they had planned to show off a plan for the future, an update, and possible tweaks to make the gameplay better. Instead, we got a public execution with many technical issues plaguing the stream, with having no audio, just sometimes double audio, and triple audio at one point, where their Discords weren't working, they had to repeat questions, they made up questions. Here we have a clip that was taken during the stream showing how many technical issues they were having, with one of the devs having to relay the message.
All right, guys. All right, we're gonna do a deep dive real quick. Now I know you guys are like, oh my God, King Jiffy, you're derailing. You know what? You can shut up because I don't give a shit. Here we go. This is like OG Marathon. Look how sick this is, dude. Look how that's from that Ant game. No, that's from Marathon as well. We got Marathon, like, was badass. It looked badass, dude. Look at this shit. Look how sick that is. It's like a more realistic Halo. It's like a grimier Halo. And then when you're in the game, dude, the art style was just to die for, dude. Like, look at how pretty this is. Look at these creatures. It just has its own vibe. I play these on my phone a lot, right? So you can get, if you have an iPhone, you can get the original Marathon games just fully available. Like, look at all the different artwork, the different styles. It had a vibe, dude. And I don't know what this is. Black and gold weapons? Oh, that's Dead Space. Fuck that. Go pound sound up your ass. That's not what I'm talking about. But then look at this shit. Most generic looking bullshit ever made. Like, you're gonna tell me that this shit isn't, like, is half of what this is? Get the fuck out of here, dude. This looks cool. This is generic fucking, District 9 slop. It's District gay, bro. It's District fucking I suck dicks under an overpass. It's District I fucking, use spiked dildos to make my butthole bleed. Like, look how boring this is, bro. Jesus, it just puts me to fucking sleep, dude. I don't, like, I mean, like, I can pull up the new Marathon game. Like, we'll just see. It's just shit's gonna flop so bad. Nobody fucking is gonna play this. It's just so... Right here, dude. This is the picture I was actually looking for. Look at the fucking spine of this creature that he has ripped out, right? Like, OG Marathon was so sick. It was, like, grimy and real. And look at this fucking shotgun just pumping these guys' blood out of their body. Look at these cool alien designs. Everything about it, even though it's, like, old and janky, it's still cool. It still has, like, personality. Then you go to modern fucking, like, oh, look at that, dude. Marathon, like, old Marathon. Then, like, fucking District Gay is what we got. District Gay. That's, I mean, it's just so lame, dude. It's so lame.
Message from the one on Discord. It even got the question wrong.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, can you repeat it? Yeah. Just so I can relay it to Cross, because Cross can't hear you right now. But
Instead of scrubbing so many assets, would it not make more sense to employ the artist, who obviously has nailed the aesthetic?
The question was, instead of scrubbing all the assets, wouldn't it be easier to employ the artist who made all the assets?
Yeah, I mean, and for what it's worth, we're confident the majority of the assets in that capacity are.
Well, and a lot of people. Okay, one thing I am gonna say, because I know I'm gonna get pushback, because I'm fucking basically taking Bungie and shoving their head in the dirt and saying, "Shut the fuck up, you stupid pussies." A lot of people act like Bungie is like a completely different studio. No, but they're still ran by the same motherfucker who started Bungie.
Original, created internally by our internal artists. We would love to work with Anti-Real if that's an opportunity that presents itself. I mean, that's part of what we sort of reached out to communicate.
Now, I feel with this whole stream that Bungie left them in the middle of a lake with no life vest and a weight attached to their ankle. Dev adding that all the assets were created in-house surprises me, and I highly doubt that at this point. Unbearable to watch. Now, not only was the stream...
Yeah, I honestly, I have some fucking critiques for you, Cryptic Rants. I think you need to speak a little bit faster. I just something that I've learned as a creator. You gotta speak just a little bit faster. Those dry moments are gonna get people fucking bouncing outski. Also, another thing that's like really, really important, get a better background. Get a better background. This blue house doesn't really do it. It's fine. I think your little VTuber avatar is interesting. I like that you're like a dude that actually picked a dude fucking avatar. There's nothing I think that's more creepy than if you're a dude and your VTuber anime or your VTuber avatar is some fucking like chick that looks like she's 12, bro. I don't care like how cool you are or how interesting your content is, but there's like I don't have anything against this guy. I think he's like I think he makes a lot of valid points, but it's like Rev or something, or I don't know. You know who I'm talking about. The fuck because he's like one of the bigger ones that talks about this type of shit. He literally bothers the fuck out of me. His little fucking 12-year-old looking VTuber anime girl with the neck choker, and I'm just like, bro, you're a dude. Why the fuck do you have a little girl avatar? It just bothers me. I don't know.
having issues, but so were the computers that the devs were using. And the stream overall was just a clusterfuck, if I'm honest. But we did get some information on what they had planned to do to remedy the situation, along with an apology from Joseph, as we can hear here.
Great. And so to that extent, I want to send my personal apology to Anti-Real, whose work was used in this case. And I know how unfair this feels, and we're doing everything we can to make this right with her. Her work is fantastic, and we clearly share mutual appreciation for a specific genre.
Share mutual appreciation? You ripped their shit off, bro. You saw they were making cool District 9 style art, right? They were making cool based District 9 style art, and you're like, well, I'm making District gay, so I might as well be a little gay boy and steal their fucking art. I might as well be a little fucking cringe loser and steal their fucking art.
Graphic design, and it's very exciting, and I'm excited to have folded that into our style in general. So thanks for listening. And thanks
Folding it in, by what they mean is they went into a store, they took the store's product, folded it inside of their coat, and walked out of the fucking store.
for your patience.
Now, there was also more added after this clip. and it was basically the same thing. He just kept rambling. It was like a public execution. It was so bad. He had to just sit there, and chat was going into.
Yeah, dude, cause this is gonna be Concord levels bad, man, and good, dude. Fuck Bungie, dude. Fuck Bungie.
Insane. It was a crazy thing to watch live. Now, we are a couple days out from the stream and haven't had an update from Anti-Real, but this has caused some ex-employees to come out via post from the game post and saying that leadership was toxic and humiliating. And later remarked that Bungie needs to be fully gutted for there to be any progress with the studio. And with how the Destiny 2 community has been treated...
You know what? You know what would help Bungie? If they scrapped all their modern fucking douchebag audiences and just brought back all the OG team and just went back to making cool shit again. Because you know when Bungie was like the coolest studio? When they were the fucking the bromeostasis place. Now, was there probably some toxic bullshit going on? Absolutely. But here's the thing. I don't want anything the modern Bungie's making. But the toxic Bungie? Bro, they were making some good ass shit. I don't know about you guys. I mean, do I condone all the things that, like, some of the, like, sexism and shit that was happening in the workplace? No, I think that's fucking cringe. But I also don't think this fucking safe direction we're going with game design is doing anything for you. And when you release products that are dog shit, gut the entire place. Shut the entire studio down. Now, I know a lot of people and a lot of my contemporaries disagree with me on that. I think you should get, like, a couple... I do think, like, what happened, like, Tango Gameworks is, like, it sucks. And I don't like that happened. As well as, like... Well, no, fuck Arcane, dude. Like, Arcane Austin... Fuck them. I like Redfall was so dog shit. Like if I were to go to work, right, and I fucking lost my company a bunch of money, right? If I go in and let's say I order this entire new product line, and a year goes by and nobody fucking buys that product line, and the owner of the business I work at is like, holy shit, I'm out like 10 grand. You think I'm keeping my fucking job? No, of course not. That's how shit works. Like, get a product out that people want. And I don't know. The Bungie's game looks like dog shit.
Basically, since the game came out, I can see this being correct. Now, it is an ex-employee, so they could just have disdain for the studio for being fired. But context clues kind of lead me to believe them. Now, if there's any future updates, I'll be sure to make another video. For now,
well, it's good that they fired the guy who stole shit, but like, how many people do you have working on this game that you don't have somebody checking for that shit? Why don't you have like testers that like utilize some of the art and like take pictures of it and then do reverse Google searching? I'm sure it can't be that hard, especially if Spurgs on the internet do it. Hire some like weird, find yourself some fucking Reddit or 4chan trolls to work for your company, not trolls, but like Spurgs to work for your company and to find this shit out for you.
Slap on.
Phrases every trans.
I mean, to be honest, that was a pretty base video. This guy's getting a sub for me, bro. We need to get this, we need to get Cryptic Rants up on his funny up, bro. We need to get this motherfucker, like, booming, dude. I want to see this dude, slapping some wiener. Oh, we got Borderlands 4 drama as well. I think we might do another video of this guy, just because, it's convenient.
The CEO of Gearbox Software, Randy Pitchford, might be the most out of touch.
Fucking Randy Pitchford. That's why we're gonna do this. So, if you don't know anything about Randy Pitchford, whatever the hell his name is, he is the main like owner of Gearbox Software. Now, he used to be like he's been like Daddy Cringe for a long time. He's famous because he worked on like some really, I heard the levels were good for Duke Nukem 3D, but he was like one of the level designers for Duke Nukem 3D. Eventually, like swung his wiener around enough to get up to like the top of Gearbox Software. It is funny because one of the weirdest clips ever of him being cringe. Let me see if I can find the video of him. He just was like, he was out at Gamescom and he's like, I own the rights to Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem, Dookie Dookie in my mouth. Ah, dude, he's so cringe, bro. This guy sucks. This guy sucks so bad, dude.
Peggy 18.
I'm Randy Pitchford, president of Gearbox Software and executive
executive producer of Duke.
Look at this goofball. Look at this absolute goofball, dude. I don't know. He's there was like a quote of him like, "Oh, look at me! Gosh darn, guys! Look at my funny thing that said that I gosh darn, I own. You don't think I have a sense of humor? I own the rights to Duke Nukem." It's so depressing. It's like so depressing where Duke Nukem's at. They could have like remade it. They could have done anything, but it's nah. Randy Pitchford doesn't care. He's a little douchey. But here, let's get into the Cryptic Rant's new video. It's Randy Pitchford killed Borderlands 4.
The CEO of Gearbox Software, Randy Pitchford, might be the most out-of-touch CEOs in gaming. Now, in a recent video posted by Nintendo on Twitter, talking about the new Borderlands 4 game joining the Switch 2 catalog, now to signal boost that post, Randy quote tweeted it, emphasizing how he's happy for the game coming to the Switch. Now, up until this point...
Yeah, I think this dude would, like, kill. I said this in the last time I watched one of, Cryptic, Nutsack? Cryptic Grants. In Cryptic Nutsack's, last video, I really said that he needs a new background. Now, I reacted to these on the same day, so he hasn't had an opportunity to change it. I want to see, like, fire and, like, sadness in the back. I want to see, like, explosions. I want to see, like, people throwing Molotov, like, stills of people throwing Molotov cocktails behind you, bro. I think it would be so hilarious. I need you to go like have like unhinged chaos behind your little Catboy avatar. I think it's just like you have a chance here. You have an opportunity because you are a PNG to absolutely make the most funny things happen in the backgrounds of your videos.
Everything is fine. As a CEO, I would venture to say it's okay to make a comment on something like that. In joining a new platform like Nintendo 2, it's a good idea. Well, a user replied with, Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed into this notion of constant increase of the price tag. And I totally agree with this user. With more and more games coming out and budgets being...
And I'm going to be real. A lot of people have hated on the last couple of Borderlands. I like them personally. Well, I liked Borderlands 3. That was the first Borderlands I ever played. I really like Tiny Tina's Wonderland. I know I'm in the minority here. There's a lot of people that hate Gearbox Software, that hate everything that Randy Pitchford is associated with. But to be honest, I think both of the last Borderlands games, for me personally, were a really fun time. I don't think though that I'm willing to pay $80 for a new Borderlands, dude. I'll be waiting on that, dude. I'll wait until it does the Borderlands thing and drops down to like 5 cents.
Thinner and thinner. Gamers are having to pick and choose which game they're going to buy that month. And with the majority of these AAA Studios games being bust, with notable recent titles added to the list, including Concord, and the now public naming of Marathon, Concord 2.0, which also I made a video on that. Go check out the video I posted a couple days ago to see how Bungie killed...
It's a based video, guys. You need to be checking out this dude's content. He's killing it in regards to video game news.
The game before it even launched. I'll also link that video down in the description so it's easier to watch. Now, gamers are focusing on...
And again, you know what? Me and him need to start a podcast. I keep saying that I'm going to start a podcast with everybody. This guy, me and him need to start a podcast. I will let him host the podcast on his channel. I don't give a shit. I think it would be fun to start a podcast with somebody.
Purchasing indie titles that have more replayability and are also better on the budget. One that comes to mind is Schedule 1, and that totally threw what a game needed to be out the window, and went totally degenerate, and it worked. With months after release, it's still hovering around 32,000 players. Now, Randy continued the conversation with this user, saying, A, not my call, which you're the CEO of the company. I don't see how it couldn't be his call, unless the board is against it, or Nintendo is pressuring them to keep it at $80, which I could also see happening because Nintendo likes to keep their games at the same price so that those who bought it in the beginning aren't annoyed that other people are getting it for cheaper. And maybe Gearbox believes that the value of being on that platform...
I mean, okay, so I'm gonna give him a little charitability here, right? I'm gonna be a little bit nice to Randy Pitchford, which I don't like being, but A, not my call. If it's not his call, that's like if he's not the if there's somebody that's a project lead and like a person who makes the call on the pricing of the game and it's not him, I mean, he's a CEO, so I'm sure that he has some say. I think that he's kind of scapegoating a little bit, but at the same time, if he's giving it up to them to make those judgment calls, that he's hands off with the pricing and the game release and stuff like that, It's fair for him. He should have said, it's not my call. I have a team that handles all that. They will make the decisions at the end of the day. I do think where he goes is fucking wackadoodle, I'm a piece of shit mode. He's like, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. Like, bro, nobody's gonna fucking buy your game at $80. I'm sorry, dude. They're gonna wait till it does the Borderlands thing of drop down to fucking 7 cents and a little piece of schmegma, and people will buy it when it hits that price point.
Is better than keeping those on the edge customers who are on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation who just simply can't afford the game. Now, he continued, B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school, working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. And people were surely concerned with the A part of that tweet, but the B part is what brushed people the wrong way. Now, a real fan isn't going to be the one who's going to be making sure you make profit on the game, with reports about it costing double the price of Borderlands 3, which came at a development budget of $140 million, making Borderlands 4 costing...
Dude, this is the problem with the modern gaming industry, bro. This is it right here. Now, you have games like RoboCop Rogue City, right, that cost a minor percentage of what this game costs. And it also has, like, a lot of your, like, normie gamers will see something like RoboCop, and they'll be like, yeah, but the facial animations, but I can't see the cum dripping out of RoboCop's penis at the same frame rate and fidelity that I would the graphics. Shut the fuck up, you cum goblin, bro. This graphics shit is why games cost so much anymore. I mean, if we actually just toned shit back a little bit, made development costs a lot cheaper, trimmed the fat at these studios, and went back to when the idea of making a game at like $20-30 million, every one of these games would be flipping profit. But the problem is now is these games are so bloated that the development teams are so bloated. Everything about it costs a gajillion billion dollars, and then what happens is they have to make that money back. That's how business works. So you have a few little options here. You got a few little fucking sneaky poo-poos. One is you raise the price of the game, which pisses everybody off because the initial purchase is more money. Two, you stuff the little son of a bitch full of microtransactions. You start with the pussy, you move to the asshole, and then you just start cramming it in their mouth, and eventually it's not even a game anymore. It's just a fucking store page. You're buying something off of a store page to go to another store page, and that's the problem with gaming. Is in this fight for better graphics and higher fidelity gaming, we have lost what made gaming special. The risky nature of gaming is gone. Everything is desensitized and fucking like cringe and lame and boring because they can't afford to make those risks anymore. Everything's, like I said, safe. It's just fucking safe. But they have to like shove as much monetization as possible in it to make the money back.
Close to $300 million in development costs to make, and I don't believe they have enough real fans to pay $80 to cover that $300 million. Now, this story has gone viral with many YouTubers and writers making stories posting about this, and it makes me wonder if we're going to see another flop like we've seen AAA studios become known for. Now, to put it in perspective, the initial post got 300,000 views. The Twitter user's reply got 127,000. At the time of recording, the post we're talking about, Not My Call and Real Fans Finding a Way, got 1.9 million views with 3.9k comments, 2k retweets and quote tweets, and only 500 likes, which makes...
Alright, so in order for that game to break even, it needs to sell 3,750,000 copies. It has to sell that many copies, which I think the game has the possibility of doing, but you've now put yourself in a situation that the game has to be a hit. I mean, Borderlands 4 or 3 sold, I'll find out here in a second, but it didn't sell, it sold a lot of copies, but I don't know if it sold 4 million or like 10 million copies or anything to like make, like, because this is breaking even. It needs, in order for it to be a success, it needs to probably hit at least 10 million games sold, and that has to be sold at full price. I mean, that's not talking about when the game hits its deep discounts.
It not so look so good for having a positive PR And this might be a negative PR nightmare, as this is being seen as the next "you all have phones" from the Diablo Immortal release, and even some believing that at this point will be the end of Gearbox Software. And we'll look at a couple more tweets and responses to this.
So it does say that the entire Borderlands series has sold 93 million copies, right? And let's see if we can find Borderlands 3 being responsible for 22 million of those copies. Holy cow. To being 2K's best-selling game, 30 million copies. So they sold less copies with Borderlands 3 than they did of Borderlands 2. Like, that's insane. 30 million copies is insane, but I do think that if I were Borderlands, right? If I were Borderlands, I would take and I would drop like 10%, like I would drop it down to like the $70 price point and like go with what the industry standard is right now. And just get, I mean, you have to sell more games, or even the 60. Let's do it by the 60 and see how many sales they would have to make. 5 million. So let's say they do 5 million, right? They need to make at least 5 million sales. But if they put it out at a $60 million price point, or $60 price point to show like goodwill to the rest of the industry, like Gearbox has like shit goodwill. 2K has shit goodwill. But imagine if they like convinced 2K to say, "Hey, motherfuckers, listen here. Let's just stroke each other's penises for 2 seconds and hear me out. We're going to drop the price to 60. Say, we are standing for the gamer, right? We stand for the gamer. Now, it's bullshit. We know it's bullshit. You know it's bullshit. But we get a little media frenzy that puts both Nintendo and Microsoft in the crosshairs. And we get people that then buy our game simply for the fact that they want to make a statement to these other things. Make it a statement. Make it a movement in the gaming industry. The back to $60. And they have the power and they have a big enough IP to do that. I think that they could, people that don't even fucking like Borderlands anymore, the people who are burnt out because of Borderlands 3, will honestly have to say in their video, even if they don't like Borderlands 4, they'll be like, even though this wasn't the best Borderlands game, I do appreciate the fact that they priced it accordingly and they were willing to stand up against the industry. You know you'll get so many fucking soy boy bullshits to do that shit. You know those motherfucking little pussies will make such a big hill to die on. And I think that that's smart. Now, he obviously did the opposite, but if I were looking at it, that's what I would do.
With one user mentioning the price of Claire Obscure Expedition 33 being only $50. And I've seen online some saying it's in the Game of the Year contention. So you can either get a Game of the Year game or play a free-to-play game like Warframe, which is seeing player growth for sticking with its core community and creating a well-rounded game for those new and old to the title. Now, with all this, do I think Borderlands 4 is going to be worth the $80? No. Was I a fan of Borderlands 3? No.
I like Borderlands 3. So, I already understand that was the first Borderlands I ever played. So, I have a really weird, skewed opinion of it. I got Borderlands 3 for, like a nickel and a blowjob. And, like, my Xbox blew me to get Borderlands 3. And I played it, and I had a blast with it. I was like, holy shit, this Borderlands shit is fun. And I then went back and started playing some of the other games. And I actually still think if you haven't played Borderlands before, even though I played the other games now and I think they are better, I still think Borderlands 3 is a good starting point just because it has the best mechanics in the series.
I purchased Borderlands 3? Yes. Will I be buying Borderlands 4? No, probably not. Probably not. Now, if more does come out about this story, I'll be sure to update you. Slop on.
Well, that was again, dude. I'm liking this guy. I think he's got some really good takes. I think this guy be out here just slamming some butts. I'm just gonna type that right now, bro. Be out here slamming butts. Yeah, dude. No, I like the broken. I like the broken English. I think it's funny. But yeah, that was Cryptic Rants. If you're seeing this later, I have like the worst thumbnail of all time on this stream. So you're probably nobody's gonna end up seeing this stream, and they'll probably just see this VOD. But I want you guys to go check this guy out. I think I like when I find good small creators that are kind of undiscovered yet, because I wish that this would have happened for me. Like, not just saying like, oh, you know, nobody in this company. It's not like I need this to happen for me or anything. I just, like, it's something cool that I wish, like, somebody would have picked me up and, like, saw one of my videos and be like, oh shit, dude, this guy's spitting facts, and then like signal boosted me. I think that would have been cool, and I think this guy's be killing it. I really do. But let's follow him on Twitter, dude. Let's give him an old follow on Twitter. The king of non-AI slop, bro. Well, I'm the king of slop. So if this motherfucker thinks he's gonna take my reign, get out of my life, bro. You think you can stand up to me and be the king of slop? Step the fuck out of my lane, dog. But yeah, that's Cryptic Rants. Give him a follow on Twitter. Give me a follow on Twitter. I'm at Jiffy Coats, bro. I'm at Jiffy Coats. Let's go to my thing. At Jiffy Coats. Go follow me on Twitter. Do I post very often? No, not really, but I post sometimes. I post more decent than some of these douchebags out here. But yeah, go check out my Twitter, and thank you guys so much. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Oh my gosh, I gotta drink some more soda. Alright, boys and girls and boys, we're gonna be looking at the insane story of a peak manga, Doro manga review. This is by Rash Reviews. Now, I've heard great things about this in terms of the anime. The anime art style was a little off for me when I had Netflix. I know I don't have Netflix anymore, so I haven't. When I get Netflix again, I do eventually want to watch this. But in terms of actually having seen, I have not seen it. But I'm really interested and curious about what this is about. So I think Rash Reviews will give us a good rundown. So let's get right into the video.
Reviewing the manga Dorohedoro. This manga actually has an enormous cult following behind it. People take Dorohedoro very seriously. And I don't blame them, because there isn't a manga world that's anything like it. It's dark, gritty, over the top, and filled with style, with an amazing, highly detailed, scratchy art style to complement. Above all else, if there's anything that I could say about this manga, it's iconic, creative, and brimming with imagination. It knows what it wants to be, and it doesn't care. And I guarantee you will see the craziest things in this manga, such as a roach wearing Jordans, a guy...
Bro, it's Asmongold. It's Asmongold. Asmongold is a main villain in this. I don't know if Asmongold wears Jordans, but we know he's the Roach King, and we know that he probably owns Jordans. He's got a lot of money, so...
running around with a turkey head and a girl dressed up as a shark. It's literally endless fun, with a somewhat compelling story that takes place during it. As for the premise, there are two worlds, the human world and the sorcerer world, that exist in Dorohedoro. With both of these worlds being separated, there's surely going to be a lot of conflict between the sorcerers and the regular humans. And for the most part, this is a background plot that becomes major later on in the story. But for the most part, everything is shrouded in mystery, with our main character, Kaneman, who cannot recollect his memory. Somebody cursed him with an uncurable lizard head that makes him immune to magic. And because of this, it is uncurable. And the only thing he has to go by in finding out who he really is are the cross-eye tattoos he has over his eyelids. So him and his newfound friend Nikaido go...
Bro got cross-eye tattoos, and that's his whole fucking thing. How did he even find out that he had the tattoos? Did he like blink at somebody and they're like, holy shit, you got him? Or did he like look in the mirror and go like this, like... oh shit, my dude! Look at that nipple titty. I got tattoos on my eyeballs. Well, that might be a fucking cluey wooey right there. I watched Memento by Christopher Nolan.
On a sorcerer hunt. And this simple sorcerer hunt that they go on would change the world around them entirely. Things just happen in this manga, but it all builds up to one bigger picture. But I'd say easily the best part about this story would be the characters. Kaneman, Nikaido, Shin, Noi, and Ibisu, all of them. I can't stress this enough. It feels like this manga does not have a single bad character. I've never read a manga where every single character was enjoyable and interesting to read about. Cayman's design, his lizard head, and his love for gyoza, followed by his identity crisis, alongside his simple-mindedness and gung-ho attitude, easily made him my favorite character. He is multiple characters in one. And if you read this manga, you know what I'm talking about. And his partner, Nikaido. She would be just as mysterious as Kaneman and have one of the strongest magics in the entire series. At one moment, she'd be cool, calm, and collected. But if you piss her off, it is over. The way she would fight was just so satisfying. Flipping around and kicking you so hard that your eye would fall out.
Dude, let's go, dude. I want to kick. I want to have like kicks like that. My kicks are like cringe and lame. And when I kick somebody, it's basically like I'm tickling their nipples. And nobody wants to feel like they just get a little tip. They're like, ew, ew, my nipple tickle, my nipple tickle. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I was trying to fucking take your head off of your shoulders, not tickle your nipples.
Out of your head. The agile movements with such power made her fights hit that much different. And from the moment Shin and Noi appear, the rivals to both Kaneman and Nikaido, they complemented the protagonists perfectly. To show you how insane this world is, once every year there's a special holiday where zombies would rise from the ground because of all of the magical distortions that the sorcerers...
Bro, there's too much magical jizz in the air. Because of the magical jizz, we have ourselves an issue. The issue is, zombies. Motherfucking zombies coming out of the ground trying to touch you in the butts. Have you ever been touched in the butts? Well, it's trying to touch you in the butts here. It's butting your fifis in your mouth.
Would create because every time they use their magic, they create a black mist. This black mist would form in the atmosphere and practically ruin the human world, the whole. On this holiday, you would slay zombies, collect their plates, and cash them in at vendors to get cool items. Noi and Shin were absolutely intimidating. When Nikaido would fight Noi, despite her amazing speed and strength, it would all get invalidated because Noi's strength was that much stronger than Nikaido's, easily breaking her arm whenever she'd block. Kaneman and Shin would both be extremely skilled with weaponry, and their rage and bloodlust would give them strength that they would need in battle, but Shin's skills and bloodlust would quite easily eclipse Kaneman's. These four characters alongside the supporting cast, the side characters...
I mean, these guys are sick as fuck looking. I mean, my face is covering one of the douchebags right now. Let me actually fixie wixie this. I'm covering his hair, dude. Look how like just based this dude's hair is. Again, dude, the art style and how like everything in this looks so amazing. I honestly, the biggest problem for me with the anime is it's CGI slop, and I really am disappointed because I think that they could have done so much more than the CGI bullshit.
There's not a single bad one. And Q Hayashida just keeps making good character after good character after good character. Most of them would have backstories and even history with other side characters, making everyone interconnected. And as the story plays out, you'd see these connections happen. Like Dr. Kasukabe being an ally to both Kaneman and Nikaido, but despite this, when Shin was younger, Dr. Kasukabe would have saved his life. Saved the life of a major villain, yet he'd be an ally to the main characters, which would create interesting interactions between everyone that would flip the entire thing on its head. Like Shin turning a blind eye on Kusakabe and lets him escape En's lair. You basically see how all of these characters are interconnected alongside their problems, creating a giant butterfly effect that makes up the entire plot. A little side character could play a giant role in the mystery of Kaneman's identity being lost. All of the fun in the story might seem mindless sometimes, but it all adds up into something. For the most part, it feels like the characters are just living, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Because how they live in this world is the most interesting thing about this manga. Not only do the characters affect it, but so do the powers. Dorohedoro's power system would range from a variety of different things, but for the most part, the sorcerers use black smoke, or in this case, sorcery.
Dude, black smoke. Well, they call it sorcery. What it really is poop particles. They're firing poop particles at each other, boys. They're pulling their little gross fingers out, and they're like, "Get him, boys!" And then diarrhea shoots out of their hands and just like gives them like diarrhea mouth.
Everyone's black smoke can do something different. Shin's black smoke cuts people up and turns people into mushrooms. Your smoke is practically personalized for you, and you'll have your own personal ability. And
Bro, mine would just be like I like breathe on somebody and I give them I give them like Crohn's disease or something. I like breathe on them and it's like something like I give them gonorrhea. Something easily curable, but still like cringe. They're like, why does everybody have gonorrhea? King Jiffy just keeps breathing on their asses.
every time they use these powers, weird things would happen to the human world, like that example with the zombies earlier. The world building is absolutely insane. With two worlds existing, we get to see two societies, the human world and the sorcerer world, how they affect each other, and we get interesting design and artistic choices from both worlds. Take a shot every time I say world. Now I feel like this is a good moment to talk about the plot and writing style. There's a lot of things that I've just praised about it, but that doesn't mean it's all hunky-dory from here on out. Now, with the character goals being relatively simple, find Cayman's identity, this and that, and while they're doing these things...
I also like the kind of a little bit of a contrasting art style between some of the characters. I think it makes for a... Could you fix that? It makes for a pretty interesting dynamic with... It's not really dynamic, I don't think it's the right word, but I think that it's the contrast just makes it just so much more appealing. Like, you see this, like, weird, creepy gas mask looking style, and then somebody that looks like they're straight out of, like, Hunter x Hunter. The shit fucking, like, gets me in the ball sack, bro. I really like it.
More of the plot unfolds. That keeps the reader engaged and intrigued, but at times, it can feel like the plot is constantly changing and can overall destroy the entire story. At the beginning, we get hooked along to Shin, Noi, and En being the main villains, and this is great because they're good at being villains. There is a huge turning point in the story where En practically wants to kidnap Nikaido and make her his wife.
Bro. They got a Princess Leia here, bro. We got some kinky fan service going on, bro. I'm guessing she's above the age of like 5, though. Hopefully, I don't know, dude. With anime, that's one of the worst things about anime is like you'll see something and you're like, she's probably 12. I'm gonna turn this show off.
She was
like, that's like anybody who like unironically like, okay, not unironically, like anybody who like watched all of Seven Deadly Sins and can walk away saying that's a good anime. You need to be like questioning their hard drive, and you need to be like curious about what's going on there. I'm not gonna lie, dude. That was like one of the most sus shows I've ever seen in my life.
Already an extremely powerful character, so when she turns on Cayman and he's all alone and has to fight Nikaido, Shin, Noi, and En all by himself, it gave an interesting sense of hopelessness, a real high-stakes threat in the story. But through this hopelessness, there would be little moments where Nikaido would snap out of her hypnotization and slowly outsmart En, or Cayman would slowly get closer and closer to saving her. This is in the beginning of the story, and unfortunately, this would be the best part of the plot. This would be the moment the stakes would be at the highest point. But as you continue to read it, it doesn't really get better than that. And that was extremely disappointing. It was very character driven and you were already connected with the characters at this point, but it never really gets taken full advantage of. Because for the most part, this conflict literally becomes forgotten. No real good or satisfying conclusion to it. And that would be the problem with this manga. En would be such a good villain, but he never gets to reach his fullest potential because he immediately gets replaced with a lackluster villain. And
that's unfortunate, dude. I hate when you underutilize potential of something. When you have like the possibility of making something like absolutely dope, because I've heard this be like kind of put up there with like, oh, if you like Berserk, you're gonna love this and stuff like that. And it's like, if you can't hit those fucking like absolute peak moments, like Berserk has it all. It has the perfect villain, it has great character writing, it has everything. And then I hear, oh well, if you like that, you're gonna like this. And I watched this, and it just kind of I've only watched like the first couple episodes of this. I didn't like the animation style. And I just kind of see this as another missed opportunity, and kind of like there's so many times where I'm suggested something because I liked Berserk, especially from like Hulu, or I look it up on Google, and it's just like they misunderstand people who like Berserk as people just like hyper violent anime. I think that I want something that has the depth and kind of poetic nature of Berserk. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the goriest thing in the world.
That really doesn't do much outside of just highlight the discrimination between the sorcerers and the regular human. Now, as you keep reading, there are still interesting moments like discovering who Kamen was, his real identity, and there are even really hype ones. The psychological moments in this manga were absolutely amazing, and some of the best I've seen. The character crash outs with Kamen. These character-focused and driven moments are the best part. But again, just like the main villain.
Well, this happens a lot. There's a lot of media out there that goes on the idea of they write incredible characters and the story itself is just kind of mid.
These characters get shafted for new ones. There's constantly new characters being added, and they are good, but it feels like it would have been better if she would have just continued to build on the ones that we already grown attached to, and that were.
This was the problem with Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter kept adding and removing characters constantly, and then would throw them back in randomly, and it happened enough to where I remember they added somebody in before the Chimera Ant arc, and I'd forgotten what their importance was in the earlier seasons, and when they died, it didn't have any lasting impact because I didn't give a shit about them. I didn't care because I didn't know who the fuck they were, and then I was like, oh yeah, they were the one that schmiggled up on his fishing pole and like sucked the tip, right? He sucked the tip really nicely, and so I was like, okay, that's why he's important, so that's why I should care that he died, but I didn't have the, like, and that's why I would say that that creator, the guy who created Hunter x Hunter, I was like Yo-Yo Hakusho better because I think that it stayed truer to its like character lineup from the beginning.
Were already established because it feels like we don't get to know them as well as we should have. Just like with N as a villain, I feel like we didn't get enough of him, and he got shafted for a diet version of him. It sucks because it feels like he already had a perfect fit in the plot just for another villain to replace him, not do much, and do almost the exact same thing that he was already doing. Was this manga still fun to read? Yes, but it wasn't very fulfilling. It's hard to say whether or not it felt like a waste of time because it was that enjoyable, but it doesn't go anywhere. This is a matter of where the journey was much better than the destination. Now, some people might like the journey and not care about the destination, but if the destination does matter to you as a reader, like it does for me, that might be a huge...
Yeah, that could be a huge turnoff for me too. I do like good character work. I do like intriguing character arcs and stuff. But when you like squander like a really good plot, I think that it is a huge miss. And again, I use Yo-Yo Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter always for an example of this. The difference between like Yo-Yo and Hunter x Hunter is like Yo-Yo from beginning to end has like a running plot, and it does have its like biggest antagonist during the entire like what is it, like fight competition arc. During the tournament arc, it has its best and most compelling antagonist, but I do think it builds to that in a really incredible way. And there's a lot of stuff even before that where it's like setting kind of the groundwork, kind of having some tropes where it's like, this guy's an enemy now, but he'll become a friend later. You guys have this thing that you can bounce off of each other, kind of like that Dragon Ball dynamic, and then it gets into the entire tournament arc that's just so cool. It builds perfectly to make him this perfect antagonist with the perfect send-off. Now, it does get a little whack after that, but the problem is when I look at Hunter x Hunter, you have a lot more arguments over what's the best arc, and it's not people talking about the show as a whole. It's like, oh, well, the show as a whole is good, but it's really good because of this arc, or it's really good because of this arc. And I look at that, and I'm like, well, I mean, the problem is it's so disjointed between each of these arcs. It's just kind of fucking shit happening, and him just living through it. And that was my problem with Hunter x Hunter. And I really like it. I'm not saying that it's a bad show. It's not like Naruto, where it's fucking garbage. It's really an interesting show to watch. I just don't think that it did the entire full-reaching, fully encompassing plot the way it should have done.
Problem for you when it comes to this manga. It genuinely feels like Q Hayashida got tired of making it and wanted to move on to her next story, and that's very unfortunate because Dorohedoro had so much potential. Again, there are epic moments, but at the end of the day, with the overall plot, it doesn't feel satisfying. Like, with En wanting to marry Nikaido. Again, it gets shafted like an afterthought, like En just kind of forgot about it. I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens because of spoiler reasons, but it's just like, why did we handle this conflict in this way? Even at the very end of the manga, there are two characters that had some history with each other. Kaneman and some other guy, I'm not going to say who it was, but this stupid cliffhanger thing that we get, just why? I really can't stress how unfulfilling it is, because it's one of those things where it's like, okay, everything goes back to normal. We are all returning to our normal lives, but it wasn't handled in a very good way. Like, look at this. The author even has to explain it. Things we learned in Dorohedoro 23. The whole is at peace, sorcerer still exists, Holy's been clean, Kaneman and Nikaido are best friends forever. Things we learned from Dorohedoro. Everything goes back to chaos. Now, I've looked at a lot of entertainment and read a lot of manga, but a genuine question is, what the fuck does that even mean? There are still conflicts that are going to happen in your life and you just live through them? That wasn't a very good, accurate representation or interesting one that really makes this narrative compelling in any way, shape, or form.
So it does look like she's working on something new now. I did pull up her Wikipedia. She's working on Die Dark. Die Dark is her next one. Now, I don't know if this is any good. This started in 2019. It looks like she went and she raises aliens, and then, like, okay, so this kind of looks like it's going off of the same idea as something like a Dora. But it does look like she's just kind of gone to a complete different fucking manga, and she might be way more interested in this idea. And this kind of happens sometimes all the time, where an artist will find something and they'll realize the mistakes they made with their last work and really want to, like, build and do something better with something else, and they're just kind of done with the last one. They've done what they wanted to. They've seen the mistakes. They're like, okay, I need to move on. I can't, like, fix this. I'm just gonna, like, end it the best I can, and I'm gonna move on to something I'm a little more passionate about with a little more thought behind it. And that might be what Dia Dark is doing. I don't know much about Dia Dark. You'll have to let me know down in the comments below, but that was my little side quest. I went on a little side quest. Wooey wooey.
Plenty of mangas out there that do have this cliffhanger-esque ending. Literally most shonen, like Dragon Ball, Toriko, The Adventure Never Stops, this and that mumbo jumbo. But at least those were still satisfying at the end of the manga. With this, it just kind of feels like you waste your time reading it. It feels like a slap in the face. And that's why I'm hesitant to even read her newest series. I don't want to invest my time in something and then just get disappointed, because the interesting plot and characters that the story had got thrown to the side for even worse narrative and worse characters. Why was the end point of the story a diet version of what you were already giving us? I did not want Diet Coke. Why did you give me Diet Coke? And that would be why I have such a love-hate relationship with this manga, because everything was perfect. Everything was so good, and it got you so invested. But everything falls off and still retains some form of entertainment value in the weirdest way possible. It feels like her writing style bit her in the ass in the end. And I know I cannot be alone on feeling this. It's so weird because I see so many people praise this manga, but they never address these issues that occur within it. I cannot be the only one who felt this way while reading it. I see nobody talk about it. That's why I question if people even finished Dorohedoro. Do they just read it and never get around to finishing it? Because absolutely nobody talks about the latter half. But maybe that's for good reason. So when it comes to recommending this...
No, yeah, basically what I'm hearing is Dorohedoro fucking jumps the shark worse than Fawns did, dude. It's jumping the shark like a motherfucker. So that's kind of what the vibes I'm getting. Now I'm looking up reviews for Dia Dark and to see if it's like got better reviews. I don't know the reviews on the other one, but... well, okay, here we go. We got a Spurg, dude. We got the Reddit. Let's see what the Reddit has to say about it. Let me hear all y'all's theories. Oh, they're gonna make out with each other's, like, genitals here. Now available. I mean, damn, bro, that looks sick, dude. Okay. View spoilers. Whoa. Reddit be scary. Okay, here we go. Just curious, Dia Dark's worth the read, and if it's connected to Dorohedoro similar. It's pretty similar, a bit more lighthearted though. It reminds me a lot of Adventure Time. What the fuck? It's definitely worth the read. Still supernatural, but more sci-fi sorcery this time. Also, I feel like the comedy is cranked up more in Dia Dark, which I love because Q, height, whatever, has a direct connection to my... Okay, you're being fucking cringe. There is enough chapters out now for to enjoy a good stretch. I'm kind of a crazy, lazy reader. Artwork is good. Sometimes for me, the characters could look more distinct, but it's cool. It is connected to Doro Doro even more than you think. Okay. But is it better, though? I'm not really seeing if it's better or not. I'm just kind of saying that... I'm just kind of saying that it's, like, interesting. Oh, dude, those look sick as fuck, though. That looks sick, bro. Look at this guy cooking. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really seeing like a definitive answer. It just seems like a more funny, a lighthearted version, which maybe because of the joking nature of it, like when you come to more jokey shit, I'm not really worried about the plot as much. So maybe that's why she went with more of a jokey tone.
I feel torn. I feel so torn because it's so good and I feel like everybody should look at it, read it, but I just don't know. I kind of feel like it's worth the read, and if you end up not finishing it, I feel like that's the way the ship's gonna sail. That is my take. Do I recommend it? Yeah, but if you never finish it, I sure as hell do not blame you. But if you don't finish it, you're gonna miss out on some really cool moments. But you're not really missing anything from the plot. There's no interesting parallels.
I've never seen something that this is so wishy-washy, bro. I've been here with stuff too. I've literally been here in this guy's position where I was like, yeah, dude, I had so much fun with it. But I don't know, like, how to recommend it, other than saying that it's fine. It's fine. It does the job. I think it had its moments, but I'm not like jizzing my tube socks about it. You know what I mean?
Between the humans and the sorcerers, nothing like that. Basically, humans good, sorcerers bad. Sometimes humans can be bad, and sometimes sorcerers can be good. So in conclusion, this is a peak manga that just ends up not being a peak manga. But if you still think it's peak, that's fair because there's still good things that happen throughout the story. It just falls off so bad. Now, with all that being said, I don't have anything else to say.
I think maybe she got bored of writing it. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting, is it really had a point, and then she killed off that antagonist, couldn't figure out a new point, and just kind of moved on. But, I mean, that's Doro Doro. I mean, like I said, the art style of the anime, like the CGI anime thing, wasn't really for me. I tried to watch a couple of episodes a few different times, and I just kept, like, falling off of it. So... It was one that I've been interested on, and the fact that I just found out that it's kind of like mid, but good, but mid, I don't know. It doesn't seem like that worth my time, but who knows? Maybe I'll get into it. But that's all I got for this one, guys. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.
On a quest for knowledge, a young man travels.
All right. So we got your boy, the Masked Man, one of the greatest anime creators on the entire platform. I think this guy's a genius when it comes to making these videos. And it says, I didn't think these manhwa could be this good. Now, I don't know what a manhwa is. You're going to have to let me know what that is in chat or the comments or whatever. While you're down there, make sure to like and hit that subscribe button. Let's get me to 80 giggity schmoodle subscribers. Anyways, let's get right into this Moana adventure.
On a quest for knowledge, a young man travels up a frozen hellscape to encounter an eldritch being. Some say a wizard, a grand wizard, that will grant the wish of any...
Bro's going to check out and talk to the grand wizard? Eldritch being? I don't think you know what you mean when you talk about an eldritch being grand wizard. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Lovecraft was notoriously against people of a certain shade. Now, what do you call the leader of the biggest hate group of the people of those certain shades? Grand wizards. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's leading to, but I do.
Any who dare enter its chambers. But what the victim does not realize is that...
We're good. The guy didn't have a pointy-headed cloak. We're fine. If his cloak would have been pointy-headed, we might have been in trouble.
The wish comes with a lifetime of madness, as a sadistic scale that balances their deepest desires. A mix of self-discovery on the journey to the peak of the mountain, and then finding truth in the mad horrors of what we do not understand. You may learn the secrets of the universe, but in turn you can never close your eyes when trying to sleep. The fate of the MC is not one I would wish even on my worst enemy. This is not a manhwa that I'm recommending, but my story as to how I got these recommendations from a friend, and then pulled an all-nighter to get this video made. Here,
Bro's friend was like, listen, dude, you need to read these. And he's like, why are you literally, like, standing over me while I'm taking a crap? He's just pooping naked. He's naked pooping with only his mask on. And some dude just standing over him, just morbidly obese, like, playing with their own nipples. You need to read this Moana. You need to read Moana. Read Moana. And he's just, like, crying because somebody broke into his house, just, dripping wet and obese and naked, yelling at him to read this, and they then forced him misery style, Stephen King noted, to finish this video by the morning time.
are the manhwa actually worth your time though? I cannot beg for mercy, only choke on trapped screams. These are the opening words for Mime, ongoing and only at 5 chapters following a failure of a mime. This story begins tragically with this mime trying to stop these men from beating a woman in an alley, only to be killed himself. While the man in the morgue that works for a crime family tends to his body, he wakes up and kills the individuals responsible for his death, putting a target on his back. I cannot stress how much my edgy little heart loves this. For starters, a completely silent main character like a Charlie Chaplin film is such a sick concept given that it really draws you in and makes you pay attention to the facial expressions. On top of that, the powers being him pantomiming what he's doing to his opponents is again visually a delightful thing to see. And
basically what happened was they watched the Joker one too many times. They're like, what if the Joker was actually a fucking mime? He was just a little French and a little gay, and we made him a mime.
Extremely unique and memorable, and then to see it unfold on top of an intense and non-stop action gritty story, I love this.
Dude, this is just somebody who watched The Crow and The Dark Knight way too many fucking times, and that's fine. I'm like not hating on you because of it. I think it looks cool. I like The Crow. I like the Joker, but come on, man, come on. We know what you're doing here.
Technically doesn't count as a manhwa, but you can read this on Webtoon Canvas, and I need more. Out of everything I'm going to recommend, this has the least amount of reads, and I am not okay with that. I made the mistake of rereading Pun Pun and Shamo within the same week and a half, 2 weeks. Then I watched Madrid lose 2 more times to Barcelona. I want to kill my... For those lows in life, a good upbeat song or even a good upbeat read can go a long way. 39 chapters and ongoing, using my cooking skills in a Muram world. Follows an unlucky man unable to get a job as a Chinese chef that is isekai'd, wait, don't skip, into another world, and
Mama's is okay. We're finding out what this is because I'm massively stupid and I think that it's important. Is a general Korean term for comics. Oh, they're Korean comics. They're Korean comics. Okay. Well, there we go. We got the answer. They're not the regular comics. They're Korean. I actually don't hate isekais, by the way. I think that I actually watch way more isekais than I probably should. I like get into the slop of it. There's nothing I like to put on other than isekais when I like edit videos because I cannot pay attention that much and I already know what's going on.
He starts a restaurant in ancient China, which considering he is obsessed with Chinese culture and history is insanely lucky because he could have woken up in like, I don't know, say 1933-ish Germany.
Or Japan. If he would have woken up in like 1933 Japan, it wasn't much better, to be honest with you. I mean, if he woke up in China in the 40s, bro, when China, like when Japan was like trying to conquer everything, people forget that Japan was like an absolute monster during the 40s as well.
One of the legendary families in ancient China after putting to good use his modern cooking knowledge and skills, as well as just modern knowledge in general, like with allergies. Pretty straightforward when it comes to this one. Great comedy via references and timing, and overall it's just a fun, relaxing breath of fresh air. Do you like gladiators? How about necromancers? Boom! Combine them. You're welcome. Or, thanks should go to the creator of The War on Corpses. You might recognize the art.
Dude, I have this problem all the time. I go to my local graveyard and dig up some skeletons and then have like a fight club. I mean, it's really boring unless I jump in and punch the corpses. But sometimes they reanimate and fight each other. That's usually when I get the most popcorn enjoyment out of it. It's just kind of a little weird when I'm just sitting there punching corpses, though. I would say that it is a little bit unsettling.
Art style if you watch the previous recommendation, Corpse Knight Gunther. This series is ongoing and at 13 chapters, introducing a city of necromancers that has a tournament to see who is the best. The fame, the glory, and the validation that it brings is the desire of our MC, who is born in trash and is treated as such. After countless failures of necromancing, He finds a body that also has been labeled as trash, and feeling that connection, chooses to take a risk and bring this one to life. On top of loving the art style and action, I like the premise of the series and how both, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not even gonna attempt to try and pronounce this one because I feel like there are 5 different ways. I'm not gonna play that guessing game.
The Schmiggle Biggle Wiggle comic. It's the Schmiggle Biggle Wiggle comic. It's a good one. It's a good one because it's the Schmiggle Biggle Wiggle Wiggle one.
But if any of you know, put in the comments. And Eleonora, they need each other since he helps control her right leg, and he also knows the strategy and history of the fighters they go up against, creating a fun dynamic with 2 opposing personalities that have a lot of room to grow. There also seems to be some interesting characters besides those 2 that I'm really excited to see the more of. So this is one that I'm personally going to be following very closely. I don't have many ways to explain this other than Souls the manhwa. Not necessarily because it's a dark fantasy that explains things via more environmental storytelling, but if not because the main character is like those of us who picked up a Souls game for the first time, encountering that one boss, dying over and over and over and over again. The Night Only Lives Today is ongoing and at 56 chapters, and follows a hardworking main character that actually keeps some of the initial intrigue of the premise as it goes on, dying over and over again to learn and become better. But to the point where dying seems to become like an addiction for him, a necessary part of the process he learns to embrace. So it's like all you need is kill, or ReZero if it was good. I'm kidding, hey.
Dude, I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real about ReZero real quick. ReZero's first 2 seasons, this is the most insufferable little cuck to ever exist. He sucks so bad. I kept like seeing that, like, because again, I put isekais on when I edit because there's something I can turn my brain off, and I kept trying to enjoy ReZero, and then one day, I think it was like the 3rd season or some shit, he clicked and stopped being a fucking little tool bag loser, and I was like, holy shit, this show got good, and ReZero ends up getting good. But it takes so long for this guy to not be the most annoying dickbag to ever exist. Bro's a diarrhea salad for the longest time.
Look, I'm training you for those group chat arguments. Don't fall for the rage bait. In all seriousness, I'm personally not as big on these types of series in general, and I'm not sure if it's because of the overexposure to this type of premise, constantly being in the same fantasy setting within the same style of art, whether it's the character designs for most of these things, or maybe I just don't like the premise itself to begin with, overexposed or not. Regardless, because it isn't my cup of tea, doesn't mean you shouldn't read it for yourself. Pearl Boy Ignite the Dawn and Dear Zero need more chapters. That has nothing to do with this video. I was just paid by friends.
This is just like these are both gay romance like comics. So if you're really into dudes like plowing other dudes, you like some dudes piping other dudes' buttholes, this is for you. This is definitely some boy love shit.
Say this, so I guess that's the sponsor. Anyways, Kiss Wood is the next recommendation.
Jesus Christ, no! How do you flash up 2 gay boy romance mangas and then the next one you talk about is Kiss Wood, bro? You know they were already doing enough kissing of wood in the last 2 mangas. It's for this to even doesn't even need to exist. They be kissing all the wood that's necessary in those other 2.
Some of you will never know the brilliance of what I just did, but that's okay.
Oh, I got you, motherfucker. I got you. I know what you fucking did. You put up some gay boy super romance mangas, and then you put up a thing called Kiss fucking Wood, which is a reference to some sucking of some massive wiener, bro. Getting splinters on the back of your fucking throat.
Completed in 34 chapters, it follows an old uncle that likes to tend to his garden, but it seemed to have become negligent.
By the way, this is why I love The Masked Man. This came out 3 days ago, but 3 days ago as of me doing the stream. But when I look at this, bro, the dude like gets me, dog. The dude gets me a little bit. He knows to throw in those low tier god references, and I'm like, oh, low cal energy. Do we got some lowly cow? Not lowly. Let's step the fuck back with that bullshit, all right? I don't wanna have to fucking defend myself on Twitter against some bullshit like that. But some lol cow energy, some of my fucking annoying weird internet obsession bullshit, and then he hits me like with some funny fucking sexual references. I like this guy. The dude fucking gets me.
Of the human relationships he has, in particular with his niece. But one day he finds himself in hell after someone killed him via arson to get rid of his garden. In this hell, you find those that have mistreated the trees. So the Loraxes really seem to have taken it up a notch, and now the uncle has to escape this massive forest to make it back to the living and waking world. This shit was beautiful. It felt like an 80s animated film that makes you cry with that one specific soundtrack damn near every time. I think the way it handled the twists and explored the characters in such a brief amount of time while giving a satisfying journey felt like I read something that was 100 chapters and not just 34. If you like emotional dramas, then you don't need to look further. Seriously, the art style, the way that the series was paced, all of the different emotional highs. Yeah, I just really like this one, and I would highly recommend it. If you happen to enjoy this video so far, consider liking and subscribing.
Well, same thing for me. If you like the fact that I jump into these little cum goblin videos and say things like cum goblin, or the fact that I like misting my cum across the entire internet, and also your mom's inner thigh, make sure to subscribe and like all my videos, and also just be a fucking simp to my channel. I want you to show up to every one of my live streams and talk about how much you love me and how I have the perfect micro penis, and because I have the perfect micro penis, my intellect just must be bigger and stronger than yours.
Want to hit 500,000 by the end of the year, so consider this my way of pestering.
I want to hit 500,000 by the end of the year. Now, is that possible? No. But let's make it fucking happen, guys. I want you guys to fucking push me out into the algorithm. I want you to call me Sloplingold and fucking Mick Slopperton and be like, this guy fucking sucks. But honestly, I want to see him spread his asshole for likes even more. I know he's like gonorrhea covered and full of super AIDS, but we need to get him a million subscribers.
Earlier, I mentioned how I struggled getting invested into manhwa like The Knight Who Only Lives Today, but one that I think broke that trend was Surviving Romance. Completed in 100 chapters, this series was described to me as super meta and breaking a lot of the norms with romance and the regression trope. I think the early part of the story is such a sick experience to read blind, so if you don't want to know more about it, then skip ahead to the next segment, although this...
We're not pussies here. Oh, spoilers, it might ruin for me, it might spoil. Shut the fuck up, don't be a pussy, dude. I fucking hate when people are like, but these spoilers. Grow the fuck up. If you're like that upset, you're gonna be fine. You can still read something, you can still hear a spoiler and read something and still find it profound. Don't be a little fucking, wussy pussy.
Might be the last segment in the video, but yeah, you could just skip. Now, for those that stayed, this series seems like a standard romance story, but then turns into a horror survival, where the main character dies over and over again, trying to save her love and achieve a happy ending. What's really sick about this series is the presentation of her personality and how she views others, seeing them as dark shadows until one of them becomes a person of enough importance, going into a very different direction than I thought the story was going to go down within the first chapters. I feel like too many series have characters that die over and over and go through hell like training or, again, just dying that many times, and instead of growing as characters, they just lack any sort of character.
Dude, the biggest problem with ReZero is he fucking took so long to make character development at all. He just was a whiny little bitch. And he's like, why does this game happening? And it's like, dude, you went through this like 400 times. I think you know what's going on. Stop being a little fucking cuck.
Whatsoever. The psychological aspect is really well explored in the series while breaking any sort of expectations I had for a romance. Seriously, I did not expect it to turn into a zombie survival series. Like, I didn't look at the tags, I didn't look at nothing. Like, I was just like, oh, okay, this is what we're handling. But again, the psychological horror aspects is by far my favorite, on top of doing so many things I would never have expected a romance series to do, having read quite a few when it comes to manga and manhwa. 100%.
Bro's secretly like the biggest fucking like romance simp manga guy ever. He's reading some of the most sussy wussy shit on the side. He's reading like my little teenage romance, middle school sucking fuck. I'm just kidding. We're not talking about Vosh here, guys. It's a joke. Calm down, you fucking weirdos that think that I'm actually calling him what you think I'm calling him. I'm not saying he's Vosh.
And a must read. If you have anything you would like to see me cover in a future video, the best way is to let me know in the comments down below. And I'm also making a second channel, particularly about professional wrestling, and so if that interests you as well, then stay tuned and check out the community posts, because I will definitely be announcing it there and in the next video.
All right, dude. I mean, that was a banger. I don't really know shit about Mawa. manhwa is just such a weird thing. I think I'll even title this "What the hell is a manhwa?" And people call it a clickbait, but I don't really care. But let's check out his channel real quick because I want to see if he community tabbed this up, dude. Let's see if he community tabbed it. Should I cover what should I cover next for It Deserved Better series? Dude, I don't know. I've only watched D Gray Man. I've only watched a bit of that. I haven't finished that motherfucker yet, though. I've been, like, trying, dude. I've been trying. It looks like he has not put up a post about his new wrestling channel. I don't even care about wrestling, but I'd watch this jabroni talk about wrestling all day, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I would watch him do it. You gave me just an excuse to watch The Masked Man, even if it's about like Hulk Hogan's like pulled anus and his like ball sack or his balls inverting back into his body. I would watch 15 minutes of him talking about Hulk Hogan's ball sack. But that's all I got for that one, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Misumint in.
All right, we got Culture Crusader here with It Was Too Violent for Toonami. Now, I don't know what this one's about. We're gonna see how interesting this is, but I'm excited to get into this. This is the first video I've watched from Cultured Crusader, so we're gonna have to see how good this is. Now, I am excited to see what Toonami got scared of.
Misumint Impossibility. You got it. Before streaming was a thing, finding anime to watch in the West was a little tricky. If you happen to know...
Dude, what you did was you went down to the local flea market. You would find a guy named Jerome. You would beat the living poop out of him. And it wasn't like his name wasn't like Jerome, and he was like he was just like a weird furry guy. Like I'm sure you went really racist when I said Jerome, and I want to nix you, buddy. I want to nix you to get away from that idea of who Jerome is. No. This guy looked like Cousin It. This guy looked like Cousin It. He had fleas bouncing off of him, and what you did was you beat him to a living pulp, and as you beat him, anime like box sets would shoot out of his like ears, eyes, and asshole, and it just created such an interesting dynamic, and I honestly miss those days.
Guy who had a basement full of strange stuff, then you were in luck. But that was a risky play. The safer option was to just watch Toonami, Dragon Ball Z, Outlaw Star, The Big O, and Gundam Wing. These are just a few of the titles on Toonami. But as for the title we're talking about today, you didn't see this one on Toonami, because this one had to be aired on Adult Swim. You see, the mixed marriage of violence and sex was a bit too much for Toonami. Just look at these bugs, right? I mean, come on. Do you see what I see?
Dude, look at that fucking... Dude, it's clitoris power, bro. That thing's got a clitoris mouth, bro. I want to fuck it.
Shepherd boy, it's not very subtle, but it sure is bloody. This is Blue Gender, a mature mecha series from the guy who made two mecha anime I still haven't watched yet. Blue Gender is a cult classic dark and gory story, a true tale of monsters and men, one that hasn't been in the limelight for a while, although it still comes up from time to time, and chances are, if you like anime from the 90s and early 2000s, then you've at least heard of it. But the question is...
I haven't heard of it, but the question I need to ask, if they're a Blue Gender, which bathroom do they use? This is like a huge... I'm gonna let this be like a soft talking point, and I want you guys to go down into the comments below, and I want you guys to argue about the political nuances of that joke I just made, and I want you to decide if it is as offensive as I think you're gonna say it is. I don't really give a shit, but I want you guys to argue about the gender norms of blue.
Is it good? Is it good? Is it good? Yeah, it's kind of a tough one. Blue Gender is divided up into two parts. The first half follows Yuji, a crazy kid from the late 2000s who was diagnosed with a bad haircut and an even worse case of super AIDS. He volunteered to be put
Dude, super AIDS! Somebody else talks about super AIDS. I thought I was the only one bringing awareness to super AIDS. It was honestly a lot of weight that's just been lifted off my shoulders. I was starting to get like a lot of hiccups because of the heartburn I was getting constantly, because I felt like I was the only person that was bringing awareness to this huge cause that's inflicting so many in the world today. Like people that you can think of, like, oh, well, Nick Fuentes, he's got super AIDS. Hassan Piker, super AIDS. Your fucking cousin who won't quit shitting on your neighbor's lawn and your neighbor keeps calling you to complain about it, super AIDS.
cryostasis until the eggheads came up with a cure, and he's woken up 2 decades later. Except there is no cure, the world has basically ended, and he's probably gonna die. Either from the strange alien bug-like monsters called Blue, which are constantly evolving whenever the plot needs them to, and have already wiped out most of humanity, or he'll be taken out by the rest of humanity. Or maybe from his own dumb decision-making.
What the hell?
A squad from a satellite out in space has been tasked with retrieving sleepers, the designation for anyone who was put into cryo before the fall. But the only surviving one they find is Yuji, which sucks. And he's woke too, which really sucks, because he was only supposed to wake up once they got back to base. But regardless, their mission is to still bring him back to their space station alive and unspoiled. However, things quickly go off script and most of them die, except for the cold-hearted mecha pilot Marlene Angel. She escorts Yuji through the wasteland.
Dude, of course the blonde babe is the one that's surviving, bro. It's such an anime trope. If a bitch got blonde hair, bro, she's surviving, dude, because she's probably got the nicest smelling vagina. So her vagina smells so much better than all the other vaginas of different hair colors. I didn't make the rules. Anime made the rules, guys. Her vagina smells like flowers. Everybody else's smells like rancid tuna that has been like shit on by obese men. That's my job in life, is just to make that smell so that I can create that reference. I'm the obese man. But you know, when you see the blonde hair, she's probably going to survive.
That was once our world to the closest operational shuttle site somewhere in Russia. And along the way, they fight more Blue, lose more guys, and grow closer to one another. That's the first half. The second,
bro, they fucking slappy tap. She takes her roast beef ham sandwich, bro, or her roast beef sandwich, and just wraps it around his cottage cheese dog, and they just slappy together, bro, and make weird like future Mad Max babies.
In half mostly takes place on Second Earth, the name of the space station where a small portion of people who were lucky enough not to get stranded on Earth when the Blue first broke out spend their days training and sciencing and banging to their heart's content. Also,
let's go, dude. Base, and I paused it right as I'm getting a VAD shot.
Status of main character switches from Yuji to Marlene, but just for a little bit. They do go back to Earth eventually, and it's back to the bug killing, but there are some major personality changes with the two main leads. Marlene goes from a mission-focused ice queen to a love-struck woman intent on fixing Yuji, who went from an emotional spaz prone to preaching to something of a psychopath.
If you get between me and the Blue, then you're going to get shot at. Nothing, not even you, will stand in the way of the success of this operation.
There's also a whole bunch of new characters that get introduced because...
Oh, you were in the camera, so I used my finger to like scratch your face with cuteness. That was my goal, dude. I was like, oh my god, she's looking so sexually titillating. I want to just come on her glasses. I got the eye roll, boys. I got the eye roll. That means one of two things. She found me hilarious and wants to bang me till I collapse, like completely lose consciousness. Or tonight she's just gonna like go to sleep next to me. I mean, I win either way because I married my best friend. But like, let's be honest, dude. I want the banging till loss of consciousness.
All the old ones die.
I'm like, baby, put a belt around my neck. Put a belt around my neck, dude. David Carradine.
And I'd name off some of the new ones, but by the time I list off all the important ones, they'd no longer be with us. But before we go any further, this video is sponsored by Sakurako. Sakurako is a monthly every soccer going on. I like.
We're skipping all of this junk, bro. If you want, go find this dude and get one of his creator codes so you can Sakurako up your butt.
Kai's last hope depends upon his survival.
So you'd better hold on tight.
Blue Gender, coming up next. Adult Swim.
I would tell you that the first half of Blue Gender is the stronger half, although that's mostly because I like Fallout 3 and its aesthetic. Dilapidated cities, crawling with unholy abominations, fighting against a faction that uses big guns and metal suits. Love that stuff. But then you get to the second half.
Okay, by the way, when they talk about fighting, I thought that the Brotherhood of Steel was the good guys. I played through Fallout 3 just fully supporting the Brotherhood of Steel, dude. I walked with Liberty Prime. I brought capitalism back to those dirty fucking savages. I was like, oh, you stupid Fallout douchebags, I'm bringing you capitalism, baby. And I was like super happy, and then everybody else told me that they were the bad guys, and I was super confused. I'm like, what the fuck are we talking about here? I thought they were the goodies.
and it's all about the people and political conspiracies and scientific revelations, and most of it ranges from okay to okay. Spoiler, not that you should really care because it's kind of stupid, but you find out the reason that the last leaders of humanity wanted Yuji and the other sleepers is because of his—
Oh, okay. So they were considered the good guys in Fallout 3. Look at that, dude. That's how I was. The House and the NCR are arguably both the good in Fallout New Vegas. So they're the good guys, and then Fallout, they're the morally grayer version in Fallout New Vegas. So look at that. So maybe you guys are the dirty fucking idiots who thought that Fallout or that Brotherhood of Steel weren't the good guys in Fallout 3.
super AIDS. This disease actually enhances his fighting capabilities under the right circumstances. And so he and the others with this disease are gonna pilot special mechs and save the world. But now here's the twist. It is the world itself that's trying to kill all humans, or at least enough humans to make things go back to the Bronze Age. You see, the Earth infected humanity with the super AIDS to start a chain reaction that would lead to everything that happens in the show. Blue Gender might just be one of the most explicit examples of a story that critiques man's disposition towards destruction and his inability to be a true steward of the earth as prescribed by the Good Book, thanks to the Industrial Revolution and its consequences. And when I say explicit, I do mean explicit. Now, it is undeniable that—
Bro, I want to watch this. This looks like gnarly and cool and awesome and based, and I need this in my life.
Gender has something to say about something. In this case, it wants to focus on humanity, both on a macro and a micro scale. What are we as a species doing to our planet? And what are we as a people doing to each other and even ourselves? Those are the kinds of questions asked by this series, and this exploration of a humanity that has lost its humanity in its fight to save humanity is an interesting topic to tackle, but the way Blue Gender chooses to tackle it is a bit gratuitous.
You mean the best way? You're wrong. This is awesome.
It's not inherently a problem to focus on odd sexual scenes where characters barely react as if to say, what's happening is meaningless. Because in the context of a world as grim as the one in Blue Gender, this makes sense. People drop dead every day, and half the time there's no fanfare or glorious send-off. It just happens, and whoever survives simply moves on. Despite the illusion of intimate acts, there are no real relationships here. Just people chasing what little pleasure they can find before their time is up. But now, do we really need to see the orgy room? I feel like that was a bit
Jeez,
much.
bro, there's an orgy room? There's a bukkake. It's like the orgy room, and then there's the bukkake cleanup showers. Like, and you always know if you have a bukkake cleanup shower room, you've gone too far.
There's a track in the OST that's literally just called sex. Also, and this is going to sound very hypocritical coming from me, but there is too much rampant death in this show. Normally, I'm all for that kind of thing. But this time, I don't know, I think it's to the detriment of the story and the characters. You see, Blue Gender has some very interesting ideas that it wants to explore, but it also has a kill quota that it cannot compromise on. So most of the characters will have little to no characterization because they're really only there to be executed.
That's an issue. When you're constantly introducing new characters and you're like, oh, this dude's just gonna fucking die in 5 minutes, so why should I care about him? It makes it hard for the person who's trying to like enjoy this material. You just have no attachments. You have zero attachments, and you just kind of care about the main character.
And the story is required to proceed in a way that allows for said execution. So eventually things just start to come across as misanthropic, like the show is offing people just for the sake of it. And when you combine this with the ending of the show, it almost seems like Blue Gender is saying that the only way to keep us human beings from ruining our planet is—
we're just gonna kill them.
The Sam Hyde clip, bro. If you haven't seen it, there was a TED Talk that Sam Hyde did that's just absolutely unhinged and might be one of the most peak comedy things I've ever seen in my life.
A lot about the killing of characters in this show, but I really should talk about at least one of those characters, Yuji.
By the way, this guy gets a like and a subscribe, and I'm definitely going to watch more of his shit because this is hilarious.
There's something you ought to know about this guy. He's very annoying.
お前たちはそれで俺を助けたつもりなのか？マリーンはサンプルの俺さえ無事なら生き残ってる人たちなんか
This is why I'd actually recommend watching the English dub, solely because I don't think he sounds as annoying there.
Marlene? Tell me, what kind of place is Second Earth?
Are you worried about it?
No, I've just been wondering what will happen to me after we get there.
But regardless of which version you watch, there is not a single episode where Yuji isn't complaining about something. Actually, that's a lie. There are a few episodes where he doesn't, because he's not there.
The best way to get this guy to stop being a little pussy ass bitch is just to like not have him in the show. It's just like, please stop talking. Well, please, why are you here? Why do you exist? Just shut up, you stupid little bitch boy. And then he's not in the episode. You're like, God, I didn't realize this shit was so peak.
Constantly disobeying everyone and crying about how it's not fair that he's woken up into a world that sucks and that his saviors aren't freaking saving everyone. The show also uses him to comment on manhood. You want to know why Blue Gender is called Blue Gender? Because it's about the blue gender. It also comments on the role of
Dude,
women.
I told you, bro. I told you, dog. I knew that it was going to be talking about gender norms and which bathroom to use. Well, I was fucking ahead of the curve. You guys were like, oh, he's some sort of phobic. When you were the phobic one, you fucking didn't understand, you little pussy-ass fucking viewers. By the way, like and subscribe. I am your daddy.
To some degree, but it's much more critical of a young man's desire to go full warrior step lord and crush all his enemies, drive them before himself, hear the lamentation of their women, that sort of thing. But it's all linked to the super aids, which are actually called the B cells in the show, and sort of operate as a stand-in for testosterone. It makes you really strong but kind of aggressive. And considering all of the other things that are already attached to the B cell stuff, this is an odd way to tackle the topic. I think it would have been better to just have Yuji's perspective and ideals challenged and changed over the course of the series through interactions with people of varying philosophies. Maybe it's a big cliche, but it might have worked in this case to have Marlene and Yuji basically switch their positions by the end, which is already kind of what
Yeah, that is kind of like a much better way to do it other than show him go fucking like absolute schizo mode. He just becomes like super angry incel fucking school pow guy, you know what I mean? And then like that's not cool. But then to have him like go, like level back out, it's like, well, we had him go a little crazy there for a minute, but no worries, we smoothed it out in the end. Do you want to see his balls? We'll go back to the sex room.
happens in the show, but in practice, it's more like Marlene can't go 3 sentences without mentioning Yuji. And Yuji just gets emo for a while, and while he does change into a guy who's more mature and capable than the loser we were introduced to, he's still plenty emotional and annoying in the end. But is he so bad that he ruins the show like he ruins his underwear in episode 1? I don't think so. And it would seem the people of yesteryear didn't think so either. The Blue Gender didn't break any records, but it did do well enough for AIC to make a compilation film just a few years after it ended. Although it's a film that wasn't enjoyed as much by fans of the show, and it's not hard to see why. This movie, Blue Gender the Warrior, is essentially a retelling of the series with a few reanimated scenes, a handful of small narrative changes, and a completely original ending. As for the new animation, it's pretty solid. I thought the TV series overall looked pretty good, especially for a late 90s show. Sure, your average episode looked pretty average, but when the show needed to look its best, it did look nice. But it did have a fair amount of fights that didn't look all that great. And this movie fixes that, while still keeping to the style of the show so that nothing feels out of place. As for some of the changes from the TV show, a lot of it is small stuff, like Yuji having a different haircut at the start, or a few minor characters being absent. But there are a handful of arcs that are either fast-tracked or skipped over for the sake of runtime. This movie is only 1 hour and 40 minutes. That's roughly 50 minutes to cover each half of the show. Except that the movie doesn't actually cover much of the TV show's second half. The last third was completely removed, and the stuff that was included was streamlined even more so than in the first half. Most of the major characters were cut altogether, and the movie ends with a failed New York City operation where, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be there. But yeah, basically a bunch of people die, Yuji has an awakening, and the Blue decide to leave him and Marlene alone, and that's pretty much how it ends. It's not a very good ending. And it's not a very good movie either. It does have its moments, and I actually do like many of the changes from the TV series. Like how there's more tension between Yuji and Marlene, and at one point she...
Bro, he pulled the Sean Connery. Sometimes you just gotta smack a bitch.
calls out his backseat moralizing.
By the way, I disavow that type of action. I just think it's funny that Sean Connery's like, sometimes the women, they just be talking and talking. They always want to get the last word in. And when they get the last word in, sometimes they don't like the last word. And you gotta give them a little smack. Now, you can't use a closed fist. You gotta use an open hand.
I do think that certain sections of the story, like when they assault the base to get to the shuttle, flow better without the added internal conflict between the soldiers because some crazy dude goes and does something crazy. But if you haven't seen the TV show, then every scene will feel disjointed or like things are just happening now. And if you have seen the TV show, then I don't really see a reason to watch this one. It's not like the Escaflowne film, which is a radically different take on the Escaflowne TV show, both visually and narratively. It's basically just a
I don't even know what Escaflowne is, but I know I like some Escaflowpian tubes.
Up and slimmed down version of a show that already had some pacing problems, with just a few changes that don't really change much in the grand scheme of things. But now there is one other version of Blue Gender out there, the manga. It came out right before the TV show ended, and it's an even more truncated version of the story than the movie. It only covers the first half of the series, and it tends to combine characters and set pieces to save time. I don't really think
so. Wait, this was a manga after it was a show? Odd direction to take things.
Checking out, but it's not that hard to track down if you're curious. And now we return to the question I asked at the start of the video. Is Blue Gender good? In terms of atmosphere and setting, I think it's great. The soundtrack in particular does a phenomenal job at conveying despair and mystery. That one track with the World at War type haunting vocals gets me going every time. Love that song. But as for the story and the characters and the way the show presents its ideas and themes, not the biggest fan, to be honest with you. I feel like I've done a decent job explaining why, but to summarize it with just a single sentence, Blue Gender is an anime with an interesting setup that trips over its characters' corpses and falls on its face at the finish line. But if you're just in the mood for something moody and graphic, then I'd say it's still worth watching. Maybe you disagree with me? I know that Blue Gender still has a pretty dedicated cult following, and I'm sure they will be none too happy with my backhanded compliments.
Oh, dude, I fucking love when I can shit on. Blue Gender looks mid as fuck. It does look like it has cool action, but the story looks mid as fuck. And I'm gonna like die on that hill. I haven't even seen it. I'm gonna say that just so I can piss people off in the comments. I always think it's funny when like fanboys show up in my comments to just spurg out. It just makes my day, and I like just getting them to wound up so they comment over and over again, and I get engagement. It's I don't know. It just makes me a little hard. My pants get a little tight because of my massive erection. Or not massive, it's only a couple inches hard, but it's still there and it still does its job.
I just don't quite see what they're seeing in this one. I'd rather watch Starship Troopers again, to be honest with you. But go right ahead and post some paragraphs in the comments. I may not be swayed, but someone else might be. Anyway, until next time, Ave Maria, Deus Vult, and a big thank you to all the cultured.
Dude, there we go. Let's see. I'm not gonna watch anything else he's made today. But I definitely want to watch something else this dude has done, because I think that was incredible what I just watched. I was again, dude, my nipples are so hard right now that I can't just like encompass how great I feel because of this. This is supposed to be the next Akira. Okay, I've seen Akira, so this will actually be one I can add context to. I think Akira is a little bit overrated. That's something. 75 years. This is something I will I'll actually die on a little bit. Is that a little bit overrated? I don't want to be too much of a douchebag. But come on, dude. Come on. It's the second half is really, really good. The first half is really slow, and I think everybody remembers the second half and how crazy the second half of Akira gets, but forgets like the journey to that. But that's all I got on that one, guys. That was a really fun video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Like and subscribe. This entire anime was made by one person, which I think is sick. That's super incredible that somebody can sit down and like have that artistic ability to create the entire anime. This is by Taibe. I've watched their stuff in the past. I am subscribed. They won the subscribe mark from King Jivy Code, so we know that this is a banger channel. But let's get right into this one.
Something unbelievable happened in the anime industry. A young artist named Masuya Yuki won a manga competition with a simple story about teenagers and shape-shifting blobs. But instead of pitching his work to a studio like everyone else, Yuki decided to attempt the impossible. Create an entire anime film by himself. He was tweaking. No studio, no team, just one guy with a crazy dream.
Dude cracked a bunch of Red Bulls, hired a bunch of prostitutes, and just started getting to work, my dude. He had so many women in and out of under that desk, or men. I don't know which way he swings.
Every single frame, every character design, every background, this man did it all. From over 50,000 hand-drawn frames to Photoshop painting and After Effects compositing. Yuki poured thousands of hours into this insane solo project. People thought it
it ends up being like absolute trash, bro. It ends up being garbage.
In 2009, after years of solitude, Yuki released Senko Roll, a 40-minute long masterpiece. And guess what? He didn't do it once, he did it twice. Today we're gonna break down both of these incredible short films.
Dude, guy has like ultimate giggity schmoodle energy. We need to talk, this is something that is being really missed out in the mainstream media, is talking about like these absolute giga chad, giggity schmoodle energy. Like, giga chad thing of the past. If you had that giggity schmoodle now, bro, you just be like tearing up buttholes and vaginas, dude. You just be tearing up those buttholes and vaginas, and you're an actual king like me, King Jiffy Coates.
Diving into the story, the art style, and the characters. Grab a snack and get ready. Meet Tetsu, our main character. He's kind of like Bakugo, but if Bakugo only listened to...
Dude, Daya, the video told me to grab a snack. Do you want to sit on my face while I watch this one? Dude, my wife just gave me the most fucking shut the fuck up face I've ever seen.
My Chemical Romance. And you're probably thinking, what the hell is that thing he's sitting on? Oh, don't worry, that's...
Yeah, don't worry, that's just his giant semen monster. That's a giant semen monster, the best kind of monster. Well, when your town has like issues with fertility, make sure to send the semen monster across the entire town and get everybody pregnant.
Now, in this world, there are monsters that can be controlled by humans through something called a link, which is an invisible connection to the user's monster that happens to be on their hair. Remember that, because it's a key part of this story. Out of nowhere, a big, chunky monster comes through a portal. My boy been eating too many Feastables, huh? Then another monster appears on top of him, revealing this guy. Oh, I hope this is the main villain of the story. Meet Yuki, our second main character. She's more of an outgoing expert, the happy type, oblivious type character, you know, who happens to be weirdly obsessed with these monsters that randomly appear around the city, destroying everything. Yes, everyone can see these monsters, but we'll get more to that later. Yuki has dreamt of seeing one of these monsters for herself, and that dream is about to become a reality. Later, Yuki goes to school and takes out the trash. Listen, this gotta be that Japanese jump, bro. I've never seen an American student do this. She steps out and hears a bike moving, but there's...
Bro, I'm always so curious how the Japanese school system works. It seems like it's just kind of like college, but like not college. And they're like, you don't have to go to high school. And I'm like, Jesus, bro. Well, what is Japan just like? We need you guys to be like thoughtless workers quicker. I don't know how it works. They might have it figured out a lot better than the U.S. is. I know the U.S. just kind of pumps out retards all the time. So, thanks, George Bush, I guess.
Nobody on the bike. Our boy Tetsu pulls up like, oi, don't touch my bike, bitch. Then an eye appears from the seat of the bike. At this point, my heart would have been in my big toe. I would have ran so quick. And this thing started transforming in front of her. She had no reaction, bro. This is crazy. Even our boy Tetsu is shocked. Later that day, Yuki brings Tetsu some food, you know, a little Riz. Yuki is infatuated by Senko. Tetsu's like, don't tell a soul that you saw me controlling this thing. Tetsu uses his link to turn Senko into an old-ass Chevy. This must have been the creator's actual car, because there's no way you have control of a shape-shifting monster and you turn him into this. But this is one of the many forms Senko is gonna...
I don't know, dude. You gotta keep it inconspicuous. What, you wanted to turn it into a Ferrari? Well, everybody then is gonna be looking at you like, why does this fucking, like, this high school, like, I'm malnourished kid have a Ferrari?
During this series, it's finna get wild. I don't know where Shu pops up, the same guy from the intro, controlling that big chunky motherfucker, and our main antagonist. He pulls up like, I know your little ass Toyota is a monster. Give it to me. Oh, did I forget to mention, some people can literally sever your link and rip your monster away from you. Also, remember that big blob from earlier? He's controlling it too. He has two monsters and wants Tetsu's monster too. Tetsu's like, nah, I'm not going. Turns Senko into a staple gun and gets folded.
Bro should have went have went full Gucci Glock mode, bro. Bro should have had that, put that switch on the back, and his monster would have just clapped that other monster's cheeks, bro. A stapler gets like something, but everybody's stapled themselves. I don't know many people who've glocked themselves, and that's a good thing. Yeah, you don't want to be glocked.
By Shu's conniving octopus head-ass monster. Cinco turns into a pair of scissors and cuts through Shu's monster's leg, immobilizing it just long enough for Yuki and Tetsu to escape. Later, Yuki starts making her way back home. And guess who catches up with her? My boy Shu. This time he pulls up on some extra freaky activity, hitting her with that harassment. Hey, back on my girl Yuki, bro. He's patting her on the head and trying to get more.
Bro's just trying to give her the, you have no choice but to come to my Diddy party. Let's go to a freak off. And she's like, I hope you get like put in jail for the rest of your life, and then lots of things happen to your butthole in prison.
Info about Tetsu, but Yuki literally just met him, so he realizes this is pointless. I look like a creep. Then hits an instant transmission. Later, Tetsu gets on to her for trying to walk home alone after encountering Shu, because now Shu knows exactly how to get to Tetsu. If that means putting Yuki on the edge of a building to lure Tetsu out, that's exactly what he's gonna do. This plan works perfectly. Tetsu comes to help Yuki immediately, giving Shu the opportunity to take him out the game and steal Cinco from him. He turns on aimbot and throws a metal rod, caveman style, hits Cinco with a critical attack. Left him looking crazy on the ground. Luckily, Cinco managed to save Tetsu and Yuki, but he got hurt so bad he had to eat Tetsu's arm to recover. That's when Shu pulls up again, this time controlling the big back baby monster from the intro. He picks Cinco up, pulls Yuki and Tetsu out, and literally eats Cinco. Cinco just fucking dies. Shu's finally
dude, just fucking kills the smaller sperm monster. What the fuck, dude?
And what he's wanted, he's absorbed Cinco and now has access to all his shape-shifting abilities. Unlike Tetsu, he does something kind of fire with this ability. He turns his big back baby monster into a literal fighter jet, my guy. Oh, here's your 4-minute reminder. This entire anime is made by one person. That's when something extraordinary happens. Shu's link to Cinco gets stolen by Yuki. Keep in mind, Yuki has never controlled a monster in her life. She has no idea how this even happened. She starts shape-shifting Cinco into a big-ass glass of lemonade. Okay, what? Of course, Shu is pissed.
That's not lemonade. That's a bunch of pee. They call it lemonade, but when he gets hit with it, he gets hit with that massive sterilization power.
Not only did he lose control of Big Back Baby Monster, but he also lost Cinco. And on top of that, the actual Japanese military pulls up, blowing at Tetsu and Yuki. They not playing, bro. It's so bad. Yuki has to turn Cinco into a egg coffin thing. What is this? Somehow Shu's evil ass gets inside and tries to take Yuki's link from her, which he successfully does. The only problem is he took her link to the Big Back Baby Monster. So what I'm assuming happened here is Cinco's ability stayed on the monster, and the monster doesn't have the ability to transform. So the monster just dies in the egg form. She was like, oh, well, time to retreat. Just destroyed half of Japan, you know. Where you going? KO'd him, okay.
Bro, just hits him with a fucking where'd she get the baseball bat? She just had it hidden up her vagina. She just be keeping baseball bats just hidden in her pussy 24/7 in case she just needs to clock a motherfucker. Honestly, not a bad play.
Comment sweet dreams if you made it this far. Yuki and Tetsu escaped this big bad baby monster.
By the way, comment anything if you made it this far. I want to hear about how long your little toe is. I want to hear if it's like one of those weird little toes that like curls around your entire foot and then you have to tie it to your big toe. I want to hear about that type of shit. I'm like wildly interested about that.
Get hit with missiles from the military. They then realized they had to get a move on before they get 360 no-scope by the Japanese Special Defense Force. This was a wild part 1 to a 2-part series. So far, we've learned about links.
This is only part 1? Holy shit, dude. Holy shit, do we go on a fucking adventure here, bro? This creator is a fucking goat, dude. He is the throat goat. I mean the anime goat.
No, there might be something special about Yuki. And there's one bad thing we also now know. Tetsu doesn't have control of Cinco anymore because Yuki accidentally stole his link. Just remember that Tetsu now has a slight hatred towards Yuki for stealing something so dear to him. Welcome to Cinco Roll Connect, part 2 of this insane series released in 2019. And what's wild is this is all still being made by one person, and it looks even more insane. We're not wasting no time. It's gonna get crazy. Let me introduce you to my girl Kaname. She's a real hothead. You don't want
Bro, are we not hanging out with the same characters anymore? Or are they just introducing new characters? These are questions we need answers to, bro. I'm so locked in. I'm so fucking locked in on this shit. I'm gonna have to watch this. I hope it's on Crunchyroll and it's in English.
bad side, or you'll probably end up like this poor monster who just got absolutely beat. Also, meet my man Godada. He's just a chill guy who hunts monsters. Nothing much to him. Hashtag chill guy Godada in the comments. They work for the Japanese Dangerous Animal Research Foundation, a crazy name. They've been tasked with hunting down this guy. He looks pretty familiar. I wonder who that is. Apparently, she was also in the Japanese Dangerous Animal Research Foundation. He went on a mission 8 days ago and never came back, so the higher-ups think he's betrayed them. We know exactly what he's been doing these past 8 days.
Bro, he's been getting giggity with the girl, dude. They've been slapping some no meat together.
They also find out that he's lost control of number 74, which was the big back baby monster. And the person who killed number 74 is none other than this emo ass guy Tetsu. At least that's what they think. But we know who really put that work in. Look at this thumbnail scene, bro. Just look at it. Beauty. Now we get a glimpse into the life of Tetsu and Yuki.
Bro just creeped out like crazy, bro. He's like, them titties though. I bet she's got nice areolas. Her nipples are probably the accurate length. Like, bro was just absolutely like gooning like crazy. Bro stopped to get that thumbnail picture and just finished to completion.
Those crazy events. Yuki literally has to activate Cinco whenever Tetsu wants to use him. He feels powerless and weak. That grudge gets stronger every day. Kaname and Godada pull up to the wreckage Shu and Yuki left behind, looking for Shu. Kaname uses her big ass satellite monster to try to spot if Shu is anywhere around the area. Although she doesn't spot Shu, she does spot Tetsu and pulls up on him immediately. Imagine this big, bulky, subtly bodybuilt ass monster pulling up on him, and the girl just casually crawls out his mouth like, I don't know what you would have did, but I would have hit 8 somersaults off this building. I'm finna die anyway. She starts looking for Tetsu's monster, aka Cinco. But Tetsu's not trying to let her find it. Yuki pulls up and sees them getting a little freaky. What's going on here? Tetsu's like, I'm not gonna give you Cinco. You might as well leave. Then she summons her monster again. You know he's OP as hell, bro. This scene was cold. Here's your 4-minute reminder. This was made by one person? What?
Yeah, I know, dude. He keeps reminding me of that, and I'm just like, I'm so mind blown, and I'm so like locked in on this. I'm surprised I haven't ever heard of this before.
He's like, I guess we'll do this the hard way. They start fading. Yuki turns Tetsu's arm into a blade, but it does negative damage, no effect. Tetsu's like, give me projectiles, I need them. Yuki gives his ass a slingshot. Oh my god, we're cooked. Of course Tetsu gets dropped off. Oh, look at little baby Cinco. He's so cute. Why he always looks so mad though? He must have not liked Tetsu at all. Oh my god. Out of nowhere, guess who makes a guest appearance? Our lovely antagonist, Shu. He looking hella clean with that $20 Adidas jacket on and a fat ass band-aid on his eye. Who told him this was drip? He pulls up and takes Yuki and Tetsu. Kaname's like, you really think I'm gonna let you get away? Yes, you are. He's
bro, she fucking failed. Miserable, taking massive L's. She might look sexy in the water, according to this guy, but she is not taking the W on stopping the bad guy.
Hey, listen, a lot of yapping happens for literally like 30 minutes, so I'm gonna speed run this entire sequence. Yuki and Tetsu get kidnapped. She was like, yo, I'm a chill guy now. You guys wanna have coffee? Hell yeah, let's have coffee after you literally just tried to murder us. Yay! Shu, of course, cooks up this evil ass plan to get his get back on Kaname and Godada for reasons unknown right now. He's like, okay, listen, I want you guys to be bait so I can break Kaname's link to her monster and take it. Tetsu's like, bet. Yuki's like, I don't know about all that. Let me think about it. He takes a couple steps outside and gets kidnapped instantly by Kaname and Godada.
Bro, what's with this chick just like getting fucking nabbed by everybody? She kind of fucking sucks. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Anytime she moves, she's a liability.
Tell her about the association they're from and that they're after Shu. Kaname's like, we're gonna use you as bait to lure Shu out.
Jesus Christ, dude, this bitch is always bait, dude. She is like the fucking like instant put in danger lady.
Now we have 2 people using the same people as bait. How the hell is this finna go down? Oh my god. Meanwhile, Shu agrees to something kind of devious. Tetsu asks Shu if he can break Yuki's link to Cinco and give him back control. Nah, my boy is evil for that, bro. I know Cinco originally belonged to him, but to snake your friend like that is crazy. L-man's in the comment, bro. This final fight scene is where the animation gets good. Kaname catches up with Tetsu and they start fighting on the spot. Yuki turns Tetsu's arm into a literal LMG from Call Call of Duty. He starts blasting.
Let's go, dude. Finally giving somebody a gun. How much do I have to say give somebody a fucking gun before it happens? Obviously, we're 9 minutes and 30 seconds in, and I said to give him a gun like at like minute fucking 3, dude. I was like, minute 3, they need that Glock power, not a fucking stapler. And they were like, no, staples though. Now finally we get a fucking gun.
Of course, without full control of Cinco, he gets dropped off quick. But this was all a part of the plan. While Kanama's distracted fighting Tetsu, Shu pulls up and rips Kanama's link straight out of her head, giving Shu full control over one of the strongest monsters in the anime. This is bad. Godota tries to save her, but he gets put to sleep. Come to find out, Godota is actually Shu's big brother. This anime is not over yet, so I hope they dive more into that in part 3 of the movie, which is actually coming out this month. So get
holy
ready.
shit, dude. I might need to catch up on this shit, dude. We need to get the dub. We need to get like I need to get my fleshlight ready, because like if I'm watching a show about sperm monsters, I gotta make some of my own.
Bro. But Kanme's like, you won't get away with this, and summons that big satellite monster from earlier. This thing is huge. Godota tries to get her to calm down. He knows he can't fully control
What?
this.
Isn't that what a baby is? A sperm monster?
Oh yeah, kind of. But this is like if you took like all the sperm you created, put it in a Ziploc bag, and then let it congeal, and that's exactly what it is. It's more of that than a baby.
This thing is, but she insists anyway. She uses it to trap Shu and almost kills him. But somehow he managed to escape. Using this monster was too much for her body. She completely passes out. Now Shu could have easily left and got away. He barely survived this city-destroying threat. But nah, he wants more. He wants Cinco. He takes Yuki's link out of her head. That's when something strange happens. Yuki takes the link to Kaname's monster out of Shu's head without even moving. It's almost like she did this on accident. Kaname's monster,
Bro, she's like goated. She's goated, but she's also the most retarded character.
pieces up Shu's little Artemis thing, forcing him to dip. He then pulls up on Tetsu.
Another thing to this is kind of the animation style and kind of what's going on. I just watched Kaiju number 8 a while back, and God, I want more of that. And this is kind of reminding. This seems like a good place filler until I get more Kaiju number 8.
Take Cinco back from him after literally giving Cinco back to him as a part of the deal. This guy just doesn't know when to quit, bro. He's teleporting around this lobby like a GTA server. This time, he's gonna learn. Tetsu's gonna teach him a lesson. Tetsu turns Cinco into a blade and cuts through this tentacle arm. Cinco runs up on him and staples his leg to the ground. Turns into a World War II cannon and blows this thing to hell. Then Tetsu himself runs up for the coldest finisher I've seen in a minute. I just know bro got put to sleep. Yep, he got put to sleep.
Bro just got racked again. He got fucking booty cheeked again, bro, by a baseball bat. I mean, this guy had to stick it up his prison wallet. He didn't have the front power that the girl had, but damn.
And that's pretty much it until part 3. I really enjoyed covering this series. I think you should go watch it for yourself. Part 3 is coming out this month, so I hope this video blows.
Dude, this is really good. This is really good. I definitely like this. It was fire. This guy be making like incredible videos. He has tons of calls to action. This is it's incredibly well edited. I know that I'm just a slop tuber, but I am saying, like, when I look at this compared to like my actual edited videos, this is much better in terms of production value. I think that I could learn a little bit of a thing or two here. Now, if I had more time, I definitely would be putting a lot more effort in. But I think my reviews are pretty fucking solid. I think that they slap enough clit to make them worthwhile. But let me know what you think. Do you like my game reviews, or do you just prefer me being a fucking shitty slop tuber? I don't mind either way, as long as I get paid and I'm having a good time doing this shit. So I'm gonna keep doing it as long as the world will let me. But I'll catch you guys on the next one, and thank you so much for watching.
What's up, guys? It's me, Deshaun.
All right, boys and girls, I think that's going to be all for me tonight. I've gone through a bunch of fun stuff. I think we've had a great time. I'm sleepy, and I want to go to sleep. So